The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a quiz again. The world's largest data center is coming to Millard County, Utah. Believe that?
It's so interesting. It's such an interesting story. So, Millard County is not. I'll just be honest. It's not known for its high-tech industry,
but it's known to have some space and some smart people and a good working population. It's right on I-15 if you're going southbound.
Yeah.
And the county seat there is Fillmore, but the largest city is just north of Fillmore, just northwest Delta. Pretty good sized city. So there's a lot of there is some good infrastructure already in place there, and it's a county that probably is just set up perfectly for something like this.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is we have the opportunity to talk to a county commissioner. It's Commissioner Wright, who joins us on the phone today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And, you know, we have to tell our listeners we kind of go way back.
We do. I don't know how many years, but it has been a while. Yes.
I bet we're pushing 20 years now, Commissioner. We served in the legislature together, and that's been 14 years already. And anyway, it's really great to talk to you again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to hear from you too, Holly.
Can you tell us first of all what really drove this issue of talking about building and having this huge data center in Millard County?
Well, I think it's been coming for a long time, and the recent changes, not only in our political environment and recent changes in data centers and AI, there's been a lot of things that's brought it there. It ends up not because we're really smarter ahead of everybody. It ends up being Millard County has a lot of geography and assets that has made it very popular and the place to come. First of all, because of the people, the work environment, and everybody else. But previous to that, there's lots of transmission lines that go through there. Developments have to have power. They have to get information out. It's in the middle of the state. It has lots of space. And previous to now, we're a little aware, most people, the salt caverns, the ability to be an energy-producing mecca and center has just kind of fell on us for other reasons, probably geography and other thing else. And our responsibility is not to really get everybody here because everybody's already at the door. Our responsibility is to try to manage what's going to happen for the future.
Bill, we're talking about a project that's about 1,100 acres. Can you tell us where the commission has decided that could be?
Yeah, we've already had zone changes and did conditional use permits, which allows them to come in and start functioning. And in those conditional use permits, we put specifications that this is what we would like. Their plan is, I think, somewhere around 30 or 40, 50 data centers. That would be a long time. I think their first initial construction would be 5 or 6, somewhere around that number, and then they would continue to grow. Of course, we know that we're a ways away from this happening, and like other projects, there's lots of venture capital, there's lots of funding that has to be acquired, and they talk about a completed project, but, you know, we might have a change of environment in several years in the country and that. And so obviously we would anticipate they would move through those plans, and hopefully they do. But there's changes that could come along the way. But we've already rezoned the property, and they do have the permits and authority to start building those data centers.
So, Commissioner, what I hear you saying is that you as a commission have looked down the road, not just to, you know, what might happen in the next 5 or 10 years for Millard County, but it looks to me like you're trying to make generational plans here.
Well, yes, I think it's important. Just a question that is answered. There's citizens that like that project, and there's citizens that don't. Most of the reason why not, it is, if you look forward, it's a big change in our rural environment. That rural environment is precious, and it's very difficult to want to give up. However, people would ask me, why don't you stop this, or why don't you change? And I can't change that. It's just going to come. Whether I'm there or not, basically it's going to come. But as I see economic development, governments are really prone to grow and develop little kingdoms. And I'm trying to develop a philosophy in our county that new money and growth that we have, that we give back a large portion of that back to taxpayers. What advantage is it? There is some, but for everybody, if we don't reduce property taxes, if we don't give some of that back to taxpayers. Governments tend to use all the new money and actually spend and build a house that they can't keep the lights on. This is what we're trying to protect against. So we get good philosophies, that basically we get good traditions, and we're going to move forward, and this is going to happen. And we're not opposed to it happening. We're willing to help accommodate those companies that want to do that. We respect property rights, and we respect people's initiative to come in and develop in the county.
We're speaking this morning with Millard County Commissioner Bill Wright. The commission voted in favor of rezoning 1,100 acres. I think it's near Delta, isn't it, Commissioner? And let me ask you this. A project like that's going to take two things that are really hard to come by in some parts of our state. One is water and one is power. What have you got planned for those issues?
Well, real quickly, data centers want to produce data. They don't want to be power producers. I think everybody knows that the state is 20 to 30% short of the energy to accommodate these. We've actually approved 2 already. There's another one in the plan, and those people will produce their own power because they can't buy power. Now, they would love to be able to purchase power. They don't want to be power producers. So this takes care of their power. Their water, we find out back east and other places, they take a lot of cooling. They have a lot of water. They can do it. They've developed different techniques and strategies. A data center will only use about the same amount of water, not much more than a house, or particularly compared to agriculture. A data center will use about the same amount of water as a half acre of ground. The way these are designed, they aren't designing them with any water cooling. It'll all be, like air conditioning and other things. So they use very little. They use very little water. The water they use is just particularly culinary water.
Interesting. Commissioner, I'm thinking about in rural communities, I know in Utah especially, that there's a lot of kids there that have to move out to find jobs. It sounds to me like if this, it sounds like it's going to happen, that you'll be able to keep some of families there close by. Is that one of the things that you've looked at?
Yes. Of course, people that have families here, one of the complaints is everybody has to leave. They would like their families there. We would like enough growth that we can provide jobs. I've been to a conference or two on, we will also in the future have nuclear energy, I suspect. One of the problems with data centers, nuclear energy production, linemen is workforce. Really, we don't have a sufficient workforce, really not only down here, but everywhere. My goal is to develop, we are developing a committee for workforce development. We're working with some of the colleges and universities. My goal that all the new growth comes that we have at least 80% of new people employed will be from that county. And we are starting and putting funds into developing workforce development for these specific things that these industries, it varies a little, that these industries need, so that we'll have that workforce. I don't think a lot of this is a real advantage for counties if we don't do two things. If we don't lower property taxes if we don't prepare our citizens in this county who want to and who willingly, with scholarships or programs or whatever, to be able to take these jobs, I don't want all these people moving in from Alabama, Texas, or whatever. I have a responsibility and obligation to prepare our county and those citizens that want to take advantage of these programs so that they can fill this employment. Now, one of the things on your last question, I'd like to go back and say one of the things that's important is the IPP and the state is developed a committee to decide how they're going to move forward with that. That's very important to our county because if we don't, why, they're going to have to be power producers. We got several companies waiting in line wanting to know if the IPP power will now, with hydrogen, will all go to California, which if they continue, the coal plant actually provides some power for local, and we have a lot of companies wanting and waiting for that. So I would just encourage the state that they make these decisions, that they get this done and we move on, because these people are generally all ready to go. We have lots of inquiries. Many of them are closer than others, but that's an important thing.
Well said.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've been speaking with Commissioner Bill Wright.